Today, I'm going to give a session about migration to the cloud, 3 easy ways to migrate to the cloud, basically. And this is a session that I prepared and gave it the first time I collaborated this year in Las Vegas, and hope you guys enjoy. A little bit about myself. My name is Francisco Munoz Alvarez. I'm an Oracle ACE since the year 2008. I'm an Oracle ACE director since the year 2009. I have been working with Oracle technologies for a long time, since basically I was 16 years old. And by the end of this year, early next year, I will be basically being 29 years working with Oracle technologies. And I have also been a beta tester of Oracle databases since version 7. And I had the honor to be one of the first Oracle, member of the first team to introduce Oracle to Latin America in a project in Brazil long time ago. And that time we also we were the beta testers for Oracle 7. And I also was awarded the Oracle Database Administration Master of version 7. That was back on 94 or 95, if not wrong. And having been testing not only Oracle database technologies, I haven't been beta tester of an early adopter of the Autonomous Data Warehouse database, Oracle Cloud, some features, Oracle VM, and other technologies. I also have been deeply involved with Oracle user groups around the world. Some people know me as being the president and founder of the LLC, the Latin American Oracle User Group Community, the umbrella user group for Latin America that I founded back in 2008. And I just left as being the president a couple of years back. I'm also still the president of the Chilean Oracle User Group, Independent Australia Oracle User Group, New Zealand Oracle User Group, and APACO UC, that is umbrella user group for our APAC region. Also the father and creator of the OTN tours around the world, creating the beta test of the OTN tours back in 2009. And the first tryout was basically me and a good friend called Tom Kite. Then most of you guys know him very well, and he's very deeply missed within the community. And I had the honor also to receive an Oracle Excellence Award back in 2010, and also an Oracle Magazine Editor Choice Award back 2010. And my Oracle blog is oraclenz.com. You also can do .net or .co, and they will also bring it to my blog. My email is fmunozalvarez@dataintensity.com. And my Twitter handler is FCOMunoz, M-U-N-O-Z. And I am very proud to be Data Intensity Director of Innovation. Also, in the screen in the center, you can have a short view of my book that I released back in 2013, together with the release of Oracle 12c. It's called Oracle Database 12c, Backup and Recovery Survival Guide, that I wrote together with a good friend from India and also Oracle ACE, Aman Sharma. And I recommend you to take a look because this book has some special features, a lot of scripts, and also is the only book that I know that they have a full chapter dedicated to no login operations. And that full chapter was basically review and work together with my friend Tom Kite. All the other chapters, we have some very good friends also reviewing and working with us, like Arup Nanda, Robert Freeman, and a bunch of fantastic fellows from the Oracle world. But let's just go to the next slide. You can see a little bit of my Oracle ACE Director Award back in 2010. And just to finish my introduction, this page, Tom, if you're listening, and this is for you. And that's basically back in the first or second tour, I created this slide for Tom. Basically, a lot of people around the world ask me all the time, sorry about that, the dogs get a little bit nuts. A lot of people around the world during my sessions always ask me, Francisco, you president of the Chilean Oracle user group, New Zealand Oracle user group, have a weird accent. Where are you from? And basically created this slide to make the people understand. Basically, I born in Chile a long time ago, but when I was 3 years old, I moved to Brazil, where I lived for 19 years. Then after that, I moved back to Chile when I got married, and I lived in Chile for another 3 years. Then I moved to United States, where I lived for almost 10 years. Then I moved to New Zealand, in the other side of the world, and where I lived for almost 8 years. And finally, I moved to Australia, where I'm living at the moment. The only main issue with moving so much around countries is you lose a little bit of identity and another few things. But when I was living in Brazil, it doesn't matter. For me, Portuguese is my first language. The country where I live, and I spoke Portuguese since I was 3 years old up to 22. Basically, my main education was made in Portuguese. Everybody over there knew that I was from Chile, and they called me as the Chilean guy, the Zamorano, thanks to a famous soccer player at that time, and things like that. They stereotyped me. When I moved back to Chile after living 19 years in Brazil, was no way no one in Chile believed I was Chilean because of my strong Portuguese accent, and they start calling me the Garotinho, Pelé, and things like that. And I started to be stereotyped like that. Then I moved to United States, and of course, if you live in the United States and you have Latin American roots, automatically I became the Mexican. Hey, Mexican, come here. Hey, Mexican, do that, and things like that. When I moved to New Zealand, there was no way that everybody over there believed I was Indian. And even if I'm eating with my family in a restaurant, I have some funny times that some couple of India approached me, started speaking in Hindi. And I was telling them, sorry, but I do not speak Hindi. I'm not Indian. And they looked at me and said, come on, are you serious? Your mom, your dad, someone of her parents are Indian? No. How about your grandparents? No one. How about the mailman, the milkman? Someone around your mom for sure was Indian. And okay, it was funny, and things like that happen all the time. And it was over and over and over, many situations in New Zealand that everybody was thinking I was from India. And since I moved to Australia, I basically was stereotype free until I went to see a doctor a few months back, and he started speaking Hindi with me since the start, and we started all over again. But that's a little bit about myself. Less disclaimer, basically, do not believe in everything that you see or hear on the presentation. Be try by yourself, because each environment is different, and please never try anything I say or you learn or you read in a production environment. Always use a dev on test environment. Okay, let's start talking with the first way to migrate to the cloud. Basically, I'll just give you one step back. My main goal with this session is to talk about the 3 main ways to migrate to the cloud that I have seen in the past couple of years, people using. That's what is my main goal right here, to share that knowledge with you, that ideas, and then you can start playing by yourself. The first option is using backup to the cloud. For many years, during the early stages of cloud adoption, I have been telling people in companies to why not do your backups to the cloud as a start of cloud adoption. This way you can continue having your on-premises environment, but for safety, you are executing and making all your backups to the cloud. That's make it a lot easier because now you have your backups accessible from anywhere in the world, and you don't have the issues anymore to doing backups to tapes, send them to a backup storage, and after a few years or months, tapes, some types libraries, the tapes themselves get deprecated, they change, evolve, and you need to start paying extra support just to have the capability to read old backups. You will not have that kind of issues at the cloud. That's why I was telling companies for many years to start playing with cloud by doing backups to the cloud. And if you are doing that, that is an interesting way to help you with your migration to the cloud, or go to the next step and do the restore from your backups, production backups, to create QAs, dev, test environments if you need. But let's see how that happens. You have a few requirements to do that, of course. Initially, you need to have access to Oracle Cloud. If not, try it for free. I invite you to connect to cloud.oracle.com and open your free account today, and you can try these kind of options with zero cost. Of course, you need to have been doing your backups to the cloud. You need to be using the Oracle Backup Cloud Services to do your backups. And you can go to my blog, oraclenz.com, and you can basically see and take a look at my posts of how to use the Oracle Cloud Backup Services and start doing backups easily. Ensure that using RMAN Auto Backup control file on, because you need to be your backups need to include the control file to be able to be restoring recovery in the cloud. And of course, please ensure that your database they are doing the backups is also in archive log mode. And this is an example when you connect to the Oracle database or Oracle Cloud Services, and you go to Oracle Database Cloud Services. You have the option in your right, you can see on my screen, that to click and create a new instance. When you click in that option, you'll be invited to enter the name of your instance, that basically the name you want to give to your VM. Enter a description if you wish, the notification email. You can choose the region where you want that instance to be deployed. And you are able to create tags to easily identify what that instance is doing. You can choose the service level. That can be Oracle Database Cloud Services, or Oracle Database Virtual Cloud Services Virtual Image. If you choose Virtual Image, basically you're just having a VM by itself with access to the Oracle ISO, and you basically can install the Oracle and configure everything by yourself. When you choose, as for this example, Oracle Database Cloud Services, this is basically databases or services. This will create a VM for you, basically an instance, and will automatically install the Oracle RDBMS, and also will create an Oracle instance ready for you to start using. And that's very easy and is a plus for you. Another excellent benefits when you compare Oracle Database as a Service compared with, let's see, Amazon RDS, is Amazon RDS, when you choose this option, you have zero access to the OS. You have zero access, of course, to the root. You have zero access to the all the administrations, users in the database, as a CIS of systems, important internal packages, and so on. With Oracle Databases and Services, that do not happen. They install everything for you. They help you managing some things to most of the basic BAU work, such as backup, help with the patchings, and so on. But you have full access to the OS level. You can do your own changes. You have full access to administrative users in the database, and so on. That is fantastic. Metric frequency, you can choose about hourly or monthly. If you choose hourly, of course, you're going to pay a little bit more, but it will be just pay for what you use. If you basically have your instance on for a few hours per day and you turn off after you finish, that is a lot cheaper because you only pay for what you're using. But if you have your instance on all the time, of course, choosing a metric frequency such as monthly will be a lot better for you because you'll get a discount because you're using for a long period of time. And then you will be able to choose software release. You can choose between Oracle 11.2, Release 2, 12.1, 12.2, or 18c. You can choose the version of Oracle you want to deploy. Also, you can choose the software edition. Can be Standard Edition, Enterprise Edition, and two different options with Enterprise Edition you can choose. Because if you choose just enterprisation by itself, they come with not any option, don't include any options. If you choose high performance, it's enterprisation high performance, they come with all the options except rack 1 node, in-memory database, and active data guard, if I'm not wrong. Then you have the extreme performance, and if you choose that one, they come basically with everything, all options and all options, with rack and everything else. You can choose the database type if you want single instance of rack, or what you're going to be doing. You also can be standby. And when you click on next, you can enter basically all the details for the instance. Let's see, as a database name, you're going to choose the administration password. They're going to be for CS system and so on. You enter how much database storage you want for that instance. You can choose the computed shape you want to have, basically how much Oracle CPU and memory you want for that instance. You're going to enter your SSH public key that will allow you to easily enter and access that instance as a OS level. You can even click to choose to use the high performance storage if you wish. They give you basically faster storage. You can modify in advanced settings the port of your listener. You can change the time zone, character set, NCS, and even enable Oracle Golden Gate if you want to use that for migrations. In the backup and recovery configuration side, you can choose that you want to do your backups on the cloud, on the local storage of your instance, or you wish to not use it, do backups and all. If you're doing backups to the cloud already, you know your cloud storage container. You enter username and password of the user. They have access to that storage container, and basically, if you are creating, you can even have the option to create on the fly that storage container by clicking Create Cloud Storage Container. And also, you have an option to initialize data from backup. If you put yes right there, and you can create a new instance from my existing backup on the environment. But note, this is not available for on-premises backups on the cloud. That will only work if you're doing cloud backups in the cloud to use one of that backup itself. Next, you will see basically all the information you enter. You can check that everything's okay. You will click on Create, and you will see that the new instance is being created. When the instance is fully created, in the meantime, when the instance is being created, I will connect to my source database, the one that I will do in the backups on my on-premises, and I'm going to check for the database ID because that information will be very important in a few moments. When I have that, then I will check for the name and the details of my Oracle Backup Cloud Services, basically the storage blocks that I'm using for my backups. I need that name. Then when my instance that we are just created is ready, I will go click in the top right menu as per my presentation in my slide. You can see my screen. I will choose the option Replace Database Using Backup. And then I will enter the database ID that I just collected a few moments ago from my source database. Then, because when I do backups in the cloud, you will learn that you need to encrypt the backups. In this case, for this example, I didn't use the wallet for encryption. I use the RMAN key value. Then I will click in that option, and I will enter my encryption key details right there. Then I will enter my cloud storage container information that we also saw a few clicks back. The username and password of the user that have access and is doing the backups for me, and also will enter the administration password that from my users, my administration users from my on-premises database. When I'm ready with that, I will click on Replace Database, and of course, I will receive a warning that all data, or everything I have in the instance that I just created will be replaced by the data, the information that's coming from the backups. I will say continue. And then I will see that my newly created instance is now on service maintenance mode. If I want to see it when it's completed, it says complete if everything went okay. I will enter to my instance. I will go again to my top right menu, and when I click on view activity, and I will be able to see all the operations that was done, and I will be able, in this case, I can see that operation status is succeeded and was initialized from a backup. Then, in this case, I will connect to my new instance using SQL Plus, and I can easily see that all data files that I have from my backup that was done from on-premises are now on my new instance created in the cloud. And voila, I basically create a new instance in the cloud using a backup from my production instance on-premises. I will not do the demo right now because the time for this session is not enough for that. But you, once again, you can go to my blog, oraclenz.com, oraclenz.net if you want it. And you can go to my posts. You're going to see step-by-step how to do or how to use the Oracle Backup Cloud Services. And you can also see step-by-step how to do the migration to the cloud using the backups. You can have that information from my blog. Also, from my blog, you can go to the tab Presentations, and you can download at any time these presentations PowerPoint. Okay, now let's go to the second way to migrate to the cloud that I want to talk to you guys today, is standby on the cloud. And most of the migrations we are currently doing for many clients, doesn't matter if the migration is to the cloud or even on premises, is using standby. Why we use standby? Because the clients want to try to do the migration with the minimum of downtime as possible. This way, they continue having that on-premises database in the, they still having the source running on premises. Even if they have, they want to do just, I just lost myself for 1 second. And even if you want to do just a hardware refreshing, you use this kind of technique too. You will have our source database running all the time and running as production. In the new machine, you will basically create a standby of your production database, and you keep that applying all the changes that's happening. In the meantime, you have your test environment that can connect to that new environment and test that everything is okay, working fine. When you're ready to do the failover, basically migrate from the server A to the new environment, all you need to do basically is just do the failover, redirect your applications to the new database, and you're ready to go. That means it's very simple to do that migration. And even if you don't do a failover, you can do, if you have enough licenses, you can do a switch over and just use the environment B. And if you have any other issues, you can basically switch back to the old environment in case of any issues, and that's your fallback plan. You can do basically the same with the cloud. Let's take a closer look. If I'm going to create my standby in the cloud from on-premises and have my primary on-premises, I need to fulfill a few requirements. Of course, I need to have the Oracle database software, the DB owner must be the user Oracle. Your primary database, of course, need to be in archive log mode. Please enable force login on your primary database to ensure that no login operations are happening. Ensure that your listener or a file is configured for static server registration. This is a requirement for Oracle Data Guard. Ensure you have all the RPMs to install or anything you needed. And basically, and of course, have access to the Oracle Cloud. That's very important. As I mentioned before, you can try it for free. Let's see how that works in real life. Again, I will create the steps I'm going to do. I'm going to create another dummy instance as I did before, and I will use that dummy instance basically to create my standby database later. I will follow exactly the same steps I did before to create using database as a services. When the instance is created, when it's ready, basically I need to ensure to know the public IP address of my newly created instance, because I need to use that to create the connectivity between my primary and this new target instance. I also need to go to access rules on my top right menu and give access, enable the access to public internet to the port 1521. And of course, this is just because of an example I'm doing. I can, instead of create a public open to everyone, I can create just from exactly from the IP on my source to the target. Of course, Oracle will give me a warning that enable access rule can take a few time. When that's ready to go, I will go to my source database. I will go to TNS names, and I will add the information of my new instance. They will become my new standby. I will enter all the details per my screen, given by using the host, the IP address of my new instance, the port that the listener is listening, and the service name that will be created over there. In this case, my source databases is RCL11.2. I created that as a service name that will be used on my target environment. Then I will do a 10S ping to ensure that the connectivity exists and is okay. In this case, you can see that it's okay. Then I will SSH. I will do a SSH from my source server to my target server to ensure that connectivity is okay. When you do that, you will see that we're going to use the user OPC to do the SSH. When they're going to do a sudo -s, I'm going to go to Oracle, and I can see that everything is okay, and I can connect. Then I will go to my target database. I will connect to SQL Plus as sysdba, and I can see that I will do a startup force mount exclusive restrict of my instance over there. And then I will do the drop database on my target, because remember, we create a dummy instance in the Oracle Cloud using database as a service. And because I don't need that instance anymore, Oracle instance, I will drop that database. When that is done, I will go back to my source servers. I will create the .ssh folder. Then I will go over there. I will create a, I will go to on my target server. I will create the SSH directory. I will create a SSH key, and then I will copy that key to the other side, to my source server, to be able to connect, do a SSH connect with no password required. And basically, this is all the steps I was doing in the previous slide. Then I will also create the ADUMP folder for my standby database, the Oradata folder, my flash recovery area or fast recovery area destination, the archive, and also I will create my init.ora file that we're going to be used on my standby target instance. Then I will connect to my target database with SQL Plus as sysdba. You can see that I'm connected to an idle instance. I will do a startup no mount using the P file that I just created with information from my source database. I will then create the SP file from the P file. I will do a shutdown immediately. Then I will do a startup no mount. Next steps that will follow, I will create the password file. I will also create the SQLnet.ora. I will work in the listener.ora on my target environment. I will then go back to my source database. Then I will connect it to RMAN, connect us to my target database, and also to my destination database as auxiliary. You can see that I'm doing command RMAN target sys oracle at prod. That's my source. Then the auxiliary, the username and password of my newly created instance, and the connectivity string, that is ORCL 11.2 underscore standby. Then the RMAN will show you that I'm connected to the target database with one database ID X, and also connected to the auxiliary database, that's my destination, that's now mounted. Then I will give basically the magic command. In this case, is the duplicate target database for standby from active database. And this will do basically the full duplication of your database from on-premises to the standby database. And when I'm ready, I will connect to my primary database, and I will do the auto system set, telling the log archive destination, and also I will do the SQL Plus / sysdba doing the alter database recover manage standby database disconnect, and this will basically establish the connectivity between my primary and newly created standby database in the cloud. Again, you are able to see step by step how to do this from my blog. I have a couple of posts how to do this kind of duplications, and how to create a standby on premises and how to create a standby in cloud too. The third option that you're going to see, we're going to be talking today about how to migrate to the cloud, is using Oracle Ravello. A lot of people, when I talk about Ravello, they have no idea what Ravello is. And Oracle Ravello was a tool that was, of course, created in the past for independent company that basically allowed people to migrate virtual images from hypervisors such as, let's say, Oracle VM, Hyper-V, or VMware, and import and migrate that OVA file from on-premises or from your environment to any cloud provider. That was a smart idea, because if you think, before the boom of the cloud implementation, we are working for a few years with the boom of the virtualization era, the private cloud kind of thing, that everybody want to make a bit better usage of your server infrastructure resources and start virtualizing everything. If companies already spend a lot of money virtualizing, they basically, why not create a tool that allow you to easily migrate from your virtual environment for the cloud, basically a V2C. And this is what Ravello did. And of course, Oracle saw how important this kind of tool will be in the future, and they bought Oracle Ravello, and now became Oracle Ravello. And in this case, that was a smart move, because Ravello was able in the past to migrate from on-premises any virtual image for any cloud provider. And of course, right now, because Oracle owns it, you can just use it to migrate to the Oracle Cloud. But let's take a look how Oracle Ravello works. When you connect for the first time to Oracle Ravello, you will have the opportunity to, in the welcome screen, to take a quick tour and also see a few tutorials if you wish. But when you connect by the first time, you will just go to the library, and in the library menu, we will go to the VMs. We're going to click on VM options. When you get over there, you're going to see already a few templates of VMs that you already have available for you to use. And in this case, I'm going to import one of my VMs that I have to Oracle Cloud using Ravello. For that, I will click in the option Import. You can see in the top of your screen with a plus import VM. And when you do that, Oracle Ravello gives two options. You can download a GUI option agent that allow you to use basically from the cloud a GUI option, or you can also do a command line interface. I am old school, I prefer to use a command line. That's what basically I choose in this case, my OS is Mac, and I choose to download the CLI VM import tool for Mac, and I'm using it. If I choose to use the GUI option, this is basically how the VM import tool looks like. Okay, in this case, I download the zip file with the CLI, and I went to the folder where I unzip, and I'm going to use the command line interface. It's very simple. Basically, you can see highlighted in your screen that I did /Ravello, because I'm using the Ravello tool. Then the next command line is the import, because I want to do an import from the cloud to the cloud. Then -u, that will enter the user that I have created in the Oracle Ravello. Then the next step is give it the pathway and the name of the OVA file I want to import to my cloud account, and click enter. The next step, Oracle Ravello will ask me for the password of the user that in this case I enter, and you can see it upload the status how the VM is being imported to the cloud. Also, so if I go back to my cloud screen, I can see in graphic mode how my OVM image is being imported to the cloud. When this is completed, I can go and click on your right to edit and verify VM. When I do that, basically the first thing I want to enter and review is the general settings. Basically, I can review all the settings that came from the default from my import, and I can change that if I wish. I can change things such as the name of my VM, enter a description, change the host name of that VM. If I click next, I can change its setup of how many CPUs I want that VM to use, the memory size, the platform, and type of display. If I click next, I can change the disk setups. In this case, I only have one, disk size is 50 gigabytes, and the controller is IDA. If I click next, I can see my network configuration. In this case, I have a ETH0 and ETH1, and they have a static IP for the ETH0, and I have a DHCP for the ETH1. You can do all the changes you wanted. And then services, then we're going to talk that in a little bit. I'm leaving on purpose to do the change later. When I finish to review all the information of the newly imported VM, I click finish, and I can see that everything is ready. The next step is go to the applications. As we saw, we can import on library all the images we wanted from any VM we have. In the applications, we can create basically deployment sets that we can enter one or more VMs image that will be deployed at the same time. As per example, I can create an application for deployment for my eBusiness Suite application, where I have my application server, that's one template. I have a middleware server that I'm using, and I have the database server that I imported. I can put the three together right here and set up, configure, and deploy all three at once, the full environment. In this case, we're going to click on the top on Create Application, and I will enter a name for that application. In this case, it's my Oracle_DB_12C release 1. I can create buckets if I want it. I can set up from blueprints if I have it. I will talk about that a little bit later. Then I click on Create. Then when I have that ready, you can see in your left side all the VMs that you have available. In this case, I will click on the Oracle 12, my image that I just imported, click and hold and move to the right, and I can see now my new VM as a box in the center of my screen. Next, in your right, you can see again all the information regarding to that VM that I'm going to be using that I can change and modify if I wish. And I can also click on the top on Publish, and they will basically publish that VM in the Oracle Cloud. If I click on Publish, I will see my VM right here running, and I can see the green square in the center that basically show that the VM is running. Oops, Sorry, I just pressed something wrong. Let me just go back to my presentation. Apologies about that. Then, now that my VM is running, because I click on publish, I want to make some changes to it. If I do that kind of change, I will basically go to the right side, and I can see the summary of the details of my VM. I can see the general information, the system, the disk, network interfaces, and all services. In this case, I never enter any services. And these services, I want to now enter some services as, for example, some for management, and want to allow me to get SSH access to that VM that in the cloud. To be able to do that, I will click on services on the top. There will, the second action will be click on add, and then the next action will be click on add supplied services. And then I will basically enter that I want administration. I want to open the port 8001 in the DHCP. And also I want to open the port 22 on my DHCP connectivity. When I finish with that, I will basically push that option to the cloud, and I can see that everything is running. One example, also when I'm going to publish again, I didn't show that before, I'm going to show now, I have the option to select when I'm publishing if I want this VM to be published in the cloud, optimized for cost or for performance. If I choose to optimize by cost, that means Oracle will try to save us money and want to give you the best option that will save us money, the best fit with location. If I choose performance, they will choose the location. I'm going to choose the best resources possible to give you the best performance for us. I can also set up a scheduler application to stop in. One example, I will create this, I will deploy these VMs for a training that basically I want to be available only for 2 hours labs. In this case, as soon this instance is on in the cloud, it will be available for 2 hours and won't turn off itself. That means Oracle will show me below the detailed price of how much this service will cost when it's running for that 2 hours. They will show me that the total price is basically almost 27 cents per hour if it's running. And I can do that also to deploy my VMs every day from Monday to Friday between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. to get the run-ins and automatically shut down to save resources. I can use it for that too. And then I click publish to publish my VM with all the changes I did. We will see in your lower right corner that the VM is starting. And when the VM is running, you will see again the VM in the center on green. But now you can see also, because I opened the port 22 for SSH. Now you can see all the details for access to SSH.VM. You can see the DNS that I'm going to be using to connect. I can see the private IP, and I can see the ports open, in this case, 8001 and the port 22. Now, if I want to SSH that VM, I will just go and do SSH. In this case, because it's a VM that I knew before, I know all the users that were running on that VM. In this case, I will SSH using the root. You know the password of that, correct? And in this case, I'm using SSH root. Then you enter the DNS information from the previous page, and minus P22 saying that specific by port 22. When this happens, you'll be asked to enter the password of the user, of course, and then you will be in, and you can start doing your things to that VM. You can see how easy it was to import, modify, and use that. This is an excellent way to migrate your VMs from on-premises to the cloud. I can also click in the option network to see how the network, how the network is configured. You can also modify that for that VM that's running. You can check your logs for everything, all the steps that happened in the background. You can go to settings, And on settings, you can see again the price details every time for each hour that VM will be running. You can see the application schedule. In this case, it's executed to stop 2 hours after I deploy. I can modify the scheduling as I wish. I can add cost alerts. Basically, if when the costs go over X, Y, and Z, please alert me on this email. You can create that kind of alerts. I can create a star order. If I have more than one VM on each deployment, I can tell which VM order need to be created in which order. And also I can create tokens and use to ephemeral access to give to my developers and the team when they need to access this environment. And I can also go to the Ravelo Systems repository when you're going to find hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of templates created by users like you. You can even create your own templates and publish to make public or private. And this is the repository when you will find all that kind of templates. And this is basically everything I have for today. It was just 1 hour session. I hope it did help you to understand a little bit about these 3 easy ways to migrate to the cloud. In summary, the first way to migrate to the cloud was basically doing your backups from on-premises to the cloud and use that backups to create your instance in the cloud easily. The second option was basically having your standby on-premises, create a standby database in the cloud, then you can use it for switch over and then you start using as a primary if you wish, or also as your DR environment. And the third option is if you are using virtualization currently and you want to migrate some of your VMs from on-premises, you can easily migrate from using the VM format OVA, your virtual machines from on-premise to the cloud using Oracle Ravelo. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to do it in the chat. I will be taking a look and I will be answering any questions you have. If you have any, also want to go through my presentation once again and take a look on the PowerPoints, please go to my blog oraclenz.com or .org or .net. Go to the tab presentations and you can download this presentation anytime. You can also connect with me at Twitter by my handler FCO Munoz. You also can email me to my email in the screen, and I'll be more than glad to help you anytime. Also, you can find the step-by-step guides of all these migrations and much more on my blog post. And I wish you're enjoying this initiative of Webinar 2 that's bringing you many sessions that from many Oracle celebrities around the world, and without need to pay a penny for it. And most of the sessions will be available on replay, if not wrong, all of them. And you can basically see in your own time without any issues. Let me check if you have any questions on the chat. I will just wait a couple minutes to see if any questions show up. No, no questions at this moment. Again, please feel free to follow me on Twitter. And I'm always publishing about all the most recent initiatives for free knowledge exchange events such as this webinar on my Twitter, talking about everything that's happening in the Oracle world. I'm not a salesperson. I will not be selling nothing to you. I will not be doing normal marketing. You're going to see just things that's really good for the community. Also, follow my blog. Take a look also on my posts I recommend. And if I can help with something, I see you around the world. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day. Cheers.